I cheated on my husband of 14 years and lost him forever. This is long, but it's something I need to get off my chest. My husband, 36 male, and I, 36 female, have been together for 16 years and married for 14. We have two daughters who are 13 and 12. About 3 months ago, I cheated on him with my coworker once, and I immediately regretted it. To be honest, I still haven't figured out the real reason why I cheated. On the surface, the reason would be that my husband was too caught up with work for a couple of months and I felt neglected and unappreciated at times. I know that this isn't the real reason, so I'm trying to figure it out through individual counseling. I only cheated on him that one time and immediately told him the next day because I couldn't bottle up my guilt and shame. He was shocked at first, but then went on to call me the most horrid names. I deserved it. I deserved it a lot more than that. I don't even know how it got to the point of me sleeping with my coworker. It started with innocent flirting, and before I knew it, I made the worst mistake of my life by sleeping with him. I wish I'd gotten hit by a car the day before sleeping with him. I cut off all contact with my coworker and gave up my phone to my husband. I wanted to reassure him that I was willing to make this work on his terms. Whatever they were, as long as he would give me another chance. Even though in my heart I knew that I wanted another chance to prove myself, I told him that I would understand if he went through with a divorce. Anyways, I told my husband that I would do anything to regain his trust and express my sorrow and regret for having hurt him so much. My husband has always been the type of guy to give a person only one chance. Even in his friendships, if the trust had been broken, he wouldn't give the other person another chance. He said that he wanted a divorce, but then the whole quarantine thing happened and he stayed in the house for about 2 months and didn't proceed with the divorce. For the first month, he treated me very coldly, and the only time we talked was when it had to do with our daughters. I slept on the couch and tried to give him as much space as he needed and only reminded him from time to time that if he ever wanted to work things out, I'd be more than willing to and would be completely devoted to the process of him working things out. He even said some spiteful things during that month and distanced himself from me completely. During the second month, there was a change as he began talking to me again. We talked about the daily stuff and even watched movies together with the girls as a family. I felt like he wanted to try reconciling, and I was so happy. I was thrilled that there might be some chance to save my family, to save us. Eventually, through the next couple of days, I could sense us becoming friends all over again. He even invited me to sleep on the bed again. Oh, Jesus Christ. A betrayed spouse sent this story to me and told me that it was a proper atonement. Okay, so bear with me. Bear with me. A couple of weeks passed by, and we were getting along even better than ever. We were spending time as a family again and had gotten closer with each other as well. I felt really good about the way things were going, but I wish I'd suggested marriage counseling. I just didn't want to pressure him and have him think that I wanted to sweep this situation under the rug, or I was trying to influence him to not divorce me. One night, we were drinking a bit, just talking in the bedroom, and I felt a genuine connection rebuilding. It felt like we were falling for each other all over again, and it made me so happy. This is the part I regret now. I decided to make a move on him and straddled him while we were laughing at a joke. We looked each other in the eyes so naturally. I began making out with him. It honestly felt like we were 20 all over again. He kissed me back as well, but after a while, he just started crying. He told me to stop and said that he couldn't. I felt so awful because I felt like he wanted to but didn't at the same time. It broke my heart directly to see how badly my stupid decision had hurt him. I told him that I was sorry and we went to sleep. The reason I say I regret doing this is because I feel like this moment pushed him away forever. 2 days later, he informed me that he wanted to go through with the divorce. He said that he just doesn't think he could make it work even after trying for the last 2 months. I wanted to fight with him about it, but I just told him I understood. We had already decided before that if a divorce was to happen, it would be on fair terms. Sure, we'd both have lawyers and we'd agree on a lot of stuff together. He wanted to take a 2-week trip, but he would come back to pick up the girls after his trip. We both mutually agreed that he'd split the time with his girls after his trip. They would spend half of the week with him and the other half with me. I even helped him pack up his stuff, and we finished. I just bawled my eyes out, and we hugged it out. After his 2-week trip, he came back, and it felt good seeing him again, but I knew it wasn't the same. He just smiled, and we made small talk before he took the girls. We're both really good parents and want the best for our kids. Today, I got served divorce papers. It hurts so much to know that I lost my best friend because I was stupid. You were starved for attention, okay? Not stupid. Sometimes I roll over to his side of the bed in the morning, and I hate how I don't feel his body there anymore. I miss his smell, his smile, his voice. I miss him filling up the entire room with his loud, adorable laughter. I miss him so much. The thing that hurts me the most is all of this is knowing how badly I hurt the person I love the most. I wish I could go back in time and undo what I did, but I can't. So now, here I am, writing about it on Reddit while crying when there's nothing that I can do about it. I wish I could let him see I wish I could let him see for himself what I genuinely feel in my heart about how sorry I am and about how I would be the most devoted wife ever if he just gave me another chance. To let him know how much I love him and that I literally would do anything for him. I fucked up the most perfect thing that ever happened to me. I wish I could get him back but I know that I lost him for good.
Get ready with me while I tell you a story about a time I cheated on my boyfriend and don't regret it. Now, I would like to preface this by saying I do not condone cheating. It's not healthy. It's not good. But I try to find, the light at the end of the tunnel in every situation. And let's just say the situation brought me back to life and made me wake up and realize that I was not happy. Now, to start this off, you should know that I was in a very, very toxic relationship for about 3.5, 4 years, and things weren't going very well. Now, where the issue started is my ex and I were preparing for Valentine's Day. And right around the time of Valentine's Day, he decides that he is going to go on a boys' trip to Scottsdale, which I was fine with. I didn't mind when he went out of town. But he lets me know the dates on it, and I start laughing. I was like, excuse me? I was like, that's over Valentine's Day. It was like, it fell over a whole weekend, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, we have plans for Valentine's Day. We had reservations to a really nice restaurant, and he was just making adverse plans to go off with boys on a boys' trip on Valentine's Day. Now, this man was slick. So what he did was he had remembered that my girlfriends had talked about going on a trip to Mexico when we had been all hanging out a few weeks ago. And he's like, oh my God, you go on a girl's trip, I'll go on a guy's trip. And in return, I'll pay for your plane ticket for you to go. And I was like, but I don't know, kind of a trip, with my girlfriends seemed like a good idea. So I agreed. Now, as I'm taking off to go to Mexico, I realize this man has only bought me an economy seat. And that's fine, don't get me wrong. But if you are a man and you mess up Valentine's Day to go on a boys' trip and you're sending your girl off somewhere else, at least get her a Delta Comfort seat. But I was, in the back in economy and it was fine. So I take off, heading off to Mexico with my girlfriends. And we get to Mexico, hanging out, having a great time. And all of a sudden, I see this guy's Instagram story that looks just like where I'm at. And it was a guy who I had met in Atlanta, out and about, but he had moved to a different state. And so we kind of kept in touch with each other, but just as friends. I met him when he had a girlfriend. He met me whenever I had a boyfriend. So the second that I see that we are literally in the same place, same location, I reach out and I was like, hey, we should all get together because everyone knew each other who was associated with this group. And let me tell you, this man, beautiful. Probably the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'll just go ahead and have to say we're going to need a part 2 because I need to continue and I'm getting hot thinking about how cute this guy is.